What is going on, everybody? This is Xbox Architect here, and today I have a house tutorial video for you. Now, as you just saw, this is a very simple ranch house. It's just 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, nothing super complicated. So, I will start off by saying this is my own building style. However, I have been playing this game for a very long time, and I've built way more houses than I can even count, and I wanted to be able to share some of my knowledge in the things that I've discovered to make things look more realistic, to hopefully be able to help you make your builds exactly what you envision. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see here, I've already predetermined this floor plan layout, and I did this not only to help you guys build exactly what I build, but also because it's one of the most important steps in my opinion when you build these houses. And this is because it allows you to not only see the different spaces and get a good sense of how big this entire build is going to be, but also because you can switch things around super easily before you already have all your walls built up. Because let's face it, once you already have your walls built up, it becomes such a pain in the butt to try and switch things around. Now, when you're laying out these floor plans like this, what you want to consider is how is an actual house going to be laid out? What type of spaces are going to be adjacent to one another? For instance, there's usually going to be a bathroom near the bedrooms, or the dining room might be really close to the kitchen, or the mudroom might be next to the garage. So for this house in particular, what you have here, this is going to be your entranceway. This will be your dining room, which will be adjacent to the kitchen. And this is open concept, so you'll be able to look into the living room, which is also connected to a more formal living room type of sitting space. Over here, you're going to have a hallway towards the bedroom areas. This room and this room will both be bedrooms, with a joint bathroom in between. And this room will be the master suite. So you'll have the main bedroom along with a bathroom and a walk-in closet. On the other side of the house here, next to the kitchen, you're going to have a mudroom / laundry room. You're going to have another small powder room or bathroom. And then you're also going to have the garage. So what you can do now is you can take this floor plan layout and you can trace it exactly how it's laid out like this. And this house in particular, we're going to build out of white concrete. So what you're going to want to do is take white concrete and just trace out all these different lines, including the spaces for the doorways. And you can do this by putting it on top of the grass. You don't have to dig it in. We're going to build on top of the terrain. Alright, so now that you have your 1 block high tracing of the floor plan that we're going to be using, what you want to do now is you want to lay down the flooring materials. Now, I always make sure to do this before the walls because it's so much easier and a lot quicker to do it prior to having walls up, because you don't have to go between rooms. It's just right there in front of you and you can just lay it all down right away. Now, the main flooring material that we're going to use for this particular build is dark oak planks. And the only exception to that is going to be the bathrooms, which will be polished andesite, and the garage, which will be light gray concrete. Now, one special consideration with the garage, what you want to do is you want to actually take away this entire first layer of terrain in the garage space. You want to have your light gray concrete in the garage level with the terrain that you're building on, and this way you'll be able to build a driveway once you start working on the exterior of your house. Other than that, all the bathroom spaces will have polished andesite. All the main spaces will have dark oak planks. So go ahead, lay down your flooring materials, and then once you're done with that, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that you have your flooring materials laid down, this is what everything should look like. Now, one thing that I did forget to mention before, with the bathrooms and the polished andesite floor, you want to make sure that material is in the doorway, because on all of these rooms, the door is going to be on the outside, and this way it allows for a continuous material as a floor in the room. The other thing to note is right here, I put one light gray concrete block, one block above the floor in the garage doorway. So what you're going to want to do in front of this is take polished andesite stairs, place one right in front of it, and then on either side, like such. And then after that, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that you have your flooring materials laid down, the next step that you're going to want to take is to start building up the walls. Now, after I've built so many houses, I've discovered that a floor to ceiling height of 5 blocks is what looks the most realistic, at least in my opinion. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, the character is only 2 blocks high, this is going to be huge. You're just going to have to trust me on this. So what you're going to want to do, if you want a floor to ceiling height of 5 blocks, you're going to want to do 6 blocks high. And that way, it allows for you to be able to also put in the ceiling material as the next step. So what you're going to want to do is just take all of these white spaces right here, everything that you see right here that's white, make it 6 blocks tall, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that you have your walls built up 6 blocks high, we're going to take another couple steps here. Now, one thing I did accidentally forget to do in this particular floor plan right here is this bedroom right off on the end. I accidentally forgot to make the closet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 block right here, 2 blocks spaced away from this wall. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 more block right here, and then fill it in. And then we're going to raise it up just like this. All right, so now we have a closet. So now that we have all these walls built up, what we're going to want to do is determine our doorway heights. So because this is a particularly high ceiling, it's 5 blocks from the floor to ceiling. Obviously the character is only 2 blocks high, and the doors are also only 2 blocks high. So from a perspective standpoint, what we're going to want to do is make them slightly bigger than what the doors are going to be. So for all the single doorways, like this entranceway, for example, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and make sure that this opening is 3 blocks tall. We're going to do that for all of these single square open doorways. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to continue this with all of these. Now, we're also going to do this with the closets in this bedroom and in this bedroom. So we're going to do 3 tall on both of these, and we're just going to fill these in like this. Same thing over here. Alright, so now we have these big open walkways, not doorways, walkways. We're going to have these big open walkways right here. So this height right here is going to be exactly where the ceiling is going to go. That's going to be 6 blocks high, allowing for 5 blocks from floor to ceiling. So what you're going to want to do is just put 1 extra there. So this is going to be 2 down from the top on all these open doorways for the living room and for the dining room. And also, same thing right here from the kitchen space going into the mudroom area. Once you have all that done, what you're going to want to do is look at the entryway and the living room space, which is right next to the kitchen. Now what you're going to want to do is on this corner of the dining room right here, you're going to want to place 3 blocks tall right on that corner. Now what we're going to have here is a living room and an entranceway that has a slightly taller ceiling height than the rest of the rooms. In this case, we're going to want to place 1 block lower than these 3 right here, so right there, and this will allow us to put a ceiling over the kitchen and have a 5 block high floor to ceiling height, but we're going to just bring this across like that. Now, you might be wondering why I put these 3 blocks here. It was only just to show the height, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring the living room up this height, just like that. We're also going to do the same thing over here. So for this hallway by the bedrooms, you're going to make 1 block across to be able to make a ceiling, and then you're going to raise it up 3 blocks. So this continually, these lines right here, all of this should be this height off of the current ceiling height that you've already placed. So let's go ahead and put that in, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that we've raised up the ceiling height of the entryway in the living room, the next step that we're going to want to take is we're going to want to go over to the garage, and we're going to want to make the holes for the garage door. Now, I've already done these 2 just for the sake of saving a little bit of time, but these each are 4 blocks wide, and we want them to be square. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks high, place 1 right above, and then you're just going to bring those blocks across, bring them forward to make everything flush, and then you're going to fill in that space right there. Next step you're going to want to take for the garage, we're going to use spruce planks for the garage doors. All you're going to do is you're going to fill in each of these open spaces for the garage doors. Make sure that you don't end up bringing them all the way flush with the outside. We want to have this little bit of an indent right here for each of the doors. Now the next step you're going to want to take with the doors is just 1 block from the top, go 1 down, and then punch 2, 2, and 2, and then later on we'll fill those with glass. But those are the garage doors now. So the next step you're going to want to take after the garage doors is you're going to want to start punching in the windows. Now, sometimes I do this after the ceiling just so that I can see the heights compared to the ceiling, but I think a lot of people are going to want to do this beforehand, so I'm doing it in this order instead. So let's start off in the dining room. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go all the way against the wall, and then you're going to want to go 1 block over, place like that, and go 3 wide. And then same thing on the other end, and then you have symmetrical openings on both sides. We're going to have these windows open up at floor level, and then we're going to bring them up 4 blocks high. We don't want them to go all the way to the ceiling because we want to be able to save this space right here to add trim or crown moldings or something later on. So we're going to do the same thing over here in the formal living room sitting area. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. And we're going to bring them up 4 blocks high. Now, usually when I do windows, it's very trial and error, and that's exactly the case right now. I'm just kind of playing around with everything. But everything that's going to result from this is what you see as the end product. So for the entranceway right here, we have this huge blank wall space to be able to do something with. So we don't want to have a window go all the way up to the top block because that's where the ceiling height's going to be. So we're actually going to end it 2 below the top, and we're just going to make a 3 by 3 square, just like that. Now for the living room windows, what we're going to want to do, and this is all very trial and error, sometimes different patterns work better than others, but we're going to look at this wall right here, right where the ceiling ends. We're going to come down, we're going to place a block just as a marker. So now what we're going to do is we're going to count 1, 2, and then create an opening. And then we're going to go to the other side of the living room. We're going to count 1, 2, and create an opening. And then we'll make those openings 3 blocks wide. And that leaves us the perfect amount of space to be able to go 1, 2, 3. And then you have a very even, very symmetrical 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with 2 blocks on either side. And then we're going to bring these up so that they are two below the ceiling. We're going to do that for all of these. We're just going to open them up. All right, so now we have these very tall windows. It's going to bring in a lot of natural light. It's going to make things feel a little bit bigger and more open. So now we have the kitchen to deal with. Now, usually there's going to be like a sliding glass door or something that allows you to get onto the patio, or you might have a grill right outside. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to keep this marker here, and we're going to count 1 block, 2 block, and we're going to just open up right there. So 1 block away from that marker, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and create a 3 by 3 opening like that. And that's where the sliding glass door is going to be. Now we're not going to have any window right here because we're going to have cabinets that wrap around, but this is going to be the rear entrance to the house. All right, so now the master bedroom. All we're going to do, floor level, 1, 2, 3, 1 away from each wall. And we're just going to bring them up so that there's 2 blocks left. We're going to do that for both sides. All these windows are going to be 4 blocks tall. We're going to leave the bathroom closed because we're probably going to have a shower at the very end there. This is a corner bedroom, so we're going to go 1 block away. We're going to do 3. We're going to do 3. and these are going to be 4 blocks tall. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Make sure that it's 1 block away, 4 blocks tall, 3 blocks wide. Just open it up and then do the same thing over here. The key to making these look really realistic a lot of times is to be able to create symmetry. And then for the bathroom, we're just going to leave this blank because we might put a shower in there. And then for this bedroom right here, we're going to do the same thing as all the other rooms. We're just going to go 1 block away from the side walls, make them 3 blocks wide, and 4 blocks tall. Now, this is the mudroom / laundry room. What we're going to do is we're going to not do a floor to ceiling window. We're going to bring it up 1, and we're just going to do a 3 by 3 opening right like that. And for the garage, we're not going to do floor to ceiling. We're going to also do the same thing as the mudroom, where it's 1 above the flooring material and 1 off of the wall. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go over here, 1 off the wall, and go 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to open these up. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a very trial and error process adding windows. And I'm honestly not sure how I feel about these 2 windows right now. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to fill those back in. We're going to make these 2 blocks wide, still same distance from either wall, but they're going to be 2 blocks wide. And then we're going to add a 3rd window right in the middle like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go 2 blocks, 1 block from the wall, 1 block above the floor. We're going to do the same thing over here. And we're going to do 3 in the middle. Oops. All right. This bathroom, probably not going to have a shower, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Make a 3 by 3 hole. That's 1 from each wall and 1 block above the floor. And there you have it. Those are your window openings. So now that you have your window openings done, the next step that we're going to want to take is the ceiling. Alright, so now that we're ready to move on to the ceilings, we're going to want to choose our ceiling material. And this is definitely up for interpretation. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing, but I normally use a chiseled quartz block because ceilings are normally white, and it also has a nice pattern to be able to kind of emulate like a ceiling texture or a popcorn ceiling, something along those lines. But all you're going to want to do, even though these are different heights, you're just going to want to take the top block, the top level, and just fill it in. You're going to do this for the living room and entryway, and you're also going to do it for the rest of the rooms. So you're going to go that height for the living room and entry, and you're going to go this height for the rest of the rooms. Once you have that finished, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that you've placed your ceiling materials, the next thing that you're going to want to do is add lights. And for this, I typically use sea lanterns because, in my opinion, it looks the most realistic compared to house lights, but obviously you are more than welcome to use whatever block that illuminates that you want. So what I can do is show you from above. This is the pattern of lights that you're going to want to use for each room. Now, one thing that you're going to want to consider is you want to have each of these lights placed 2 blocks away at minimum from any wall. And this is so that you can add in any sort of trim or crown molding. And also, if you wanted to create like a coffered ceiling effect with beams, it just makes a lot more sense to go in between. So for the formal living room or sitting room, all you're going to need to do is just from 2 blocks away in each corner, create 4 lights just like that. You're going to do the same thing in the dining room. You're going to do 2 blocks away from any wall in each corner, and then you're going to throw in another light right in the center of those 2. So you're going to have 2 rows of 3 lights. This is going to be the mudroom. Again, 2 blocks away from each wall. You're just going to throw in 2 on either end. The bathroom right here, you're just going to do 1 right in the center. The kitchen, you're going to place 2 blocks away from the walls in each corner. And then you're going to make sure to have 3 blocks of space in between, just like that. In the other orientation, you're going to want to make sure that you have 4 blocks in between. So your kitchen should look like that with the lights. With the living room and entryway, what you're going to want to do for the entryway is just add 2 blocks away from all the walls. And then you're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 away from that into the living room. And you're going to create an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place. And then this allows you to still have the 2 blocks away from each wall. And then you're going to move 1, 2, 3, and then place. And then 1, 2, 3, and then place. 1, 2, 3, and then place. And then just fill it in so that it's all even. It's pretty simple. Not too complicated. For the bedrooms, you're going to do exactly the same thing that you did for the formal living room or sitting room. You're just going to add in 2 blocks away from the walls in each corner, so that'll be 4 lights just like that. And that's going to be the same thing right here. For the bathroom in between, you're going to go 2 away from each of the walls, and you're going to have 1 block of space in between. For the hallway, it's going to be the one exception to the 2 blocks away from the wall rule because it's only 3 blocks wide. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to place 1 block away from the end of the hallway, and then you're going to place 3 blocks away from the previous light. So you're going to have 4 lights with 3 blocks in between each one of them, and it starts 1 block away from the end of the hallway. For the master bathroom, you're going to do the same exact thing as you did for the other bathroom, with 1 block in between, just center them, and same thing for the closet. The master bedroom is slightly different just because the walls have different lengths, so you're going to place 1 block, 2 blocks away from each of these walls in the corner. Do the same thing over on this side, and then right in the center, 2 blocks away from either corner light, place 1 in the center, and then move 3 blocks over. You're going to have 3 blocks of space in between these. You're going to place a block 2 blocks away from this corner. You're going to place a block 2 blocks away from this corner. And you're not going to have anything in between. So you're only going to have 5 lights in there. It might look a little weird, but once you add in the trim, it'll make a lot more sense. The last room really is the garage. All you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing 2 blocks away from the corner, 2 blocks away from the corner. Do that on all 4 corners of the garage, and then move 3 blocks away from that, have 3 blocks of space, and then put in another 2, and then only have 2 blocks of space in the middle, throw in another 2, and then that allows you to also have another 3 blocks of space from the opposite corner blocks. So what I can do is I can just hover above. I'll let you pause if you want to go ahead and try and copy this, or if you've been following along. But once you have these lights in place, we'll make the next step. Once you have all your lights in place, the next step that you're going to take is very plain and simple. The only thing you're going to need is black stained glass pane, and what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and you're going to fill in all the holes that we created for the windows. And once you have that finished, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now that you've put in all of your black stained glass panes, the next steps that we're going to take involve the black stained glass block. So what you're going to want to do, come over to these garage doors, and those holes that you created for the windows previously, just fill them in with the block, not the pane. Then you're going to come around back. This is the opening for the sliding glass door next to the kitchen. What you're going to want to do, on this edge right here, you're going to place 3 blocks, and then you are also going to place 1, 2, 3 glass panes. And this is kind of portraying, emulating, whatever word you want to use, a sliding glass door. And then all you're going to do right in the middle, you're just going to place a button on either side. Alright, so the next step we're going to take here, as you can see, it starts involving the roof. Now, what you're going to want to do before you start putting in the roof material is you're going to want to pick out where you want the peaks to be. And this is, you could go all the way around the house and just have everything sloped up, but to be able to do this, it adds a little bit of a more decorative effect. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to use light gray concrete, and we're going to go right over this first bedroom here, 1 block in on either side, and we're just going to create a nice even symmetrical pyramid. We'll come around to this side on this other bedroom. We're going to do exactly the same thing. 1 block in from either side, we're just going to create this light gray concrete pyramid. Same exact thing over the entryway. And same exact thing over this end of the garage. Now once we have all those put in place, picked out where we want, what we need to do next is we need to choose our roofing material. In which case, I think for this house in particular, we're going to use stone brick stairs. Alright, so now that you have your roof peaks in place, as you can see here, I've already started filling in the roof a little bit. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your stone brick stairs and you're going to want to fill in these spots right on the outside of these peaks, right? On the ones that have 1 singular block in the center, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to put a stone brick slab right on the top like that. You're going to do exactly the same thing over here. You're going to do exactly the same thing over the entryway. And you're going to do it on this side of the garage as well. However, this doesn't have 1 single block right here, so you can just continue up with the stairs. But the next step that you're going to want to take, the same height as the ceiling, so 1 block below where you start the roof on top of the walls, you're going to want to take smooth quartz stairs, and you're just going to go 1 below, and you are going to follow the entire perimeter of the house except where these roof peaks are, in which case you're just going to stop it like that and you're going to leave it flush. So we'll come around here. We'll continue doing the same thing. Leave it flush. Continue around. Now the one thing to note, right over here, you're gonna stop even with the roof right up against where the living room wall starts, and you're just gonna turn this direction and you're gonna place a stair just like that. We're not actually gonna worry about anything roof related with the living room and entryway right now, because we're actually gonna build up and it's gonna kind of get incorporated automatically. So what you're gonna do next is you're just gonna start tracing all the way around with your stone brick slabs. And once you come to these peaks, you're just gonna stop and you're just gonna leave it flush. But you're gonna continue around and you're gonna keep going up in levels. When you reach the entryway, just like this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come around, you're gonna turn this direction, you're gonna place one, and then the next level, you can continue going up just like this. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, so now what I've done is I've gone around, I've been tracing the roof around the perimeter of the house, and I've just been going up continuously each level, and I've gotten to the point where the roof is at the same level as where the top of the wall for the living room and entryway is. So we are going to take another couple steps here just to make sure that this all works well. The first thing that you're going to want to do right here, this is where the fireplace is going to be. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to start bringing this up. You're going to take this indent in the wall and you're just going to outline it like such. And then at this point, what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise this up, I don't know, probably, let's say 6 or 7 blocks high. And if we need to later on, we can lower this down if it's too tall, but we're just doing this so that we can build the roof around what is gonna become the chimney. Alright, so now that you have your chimney built, the next thing we're going to do is make sure that the roof over the entryway starts to meet up with the continual roof pattern that you've been doing. So what you're going to do is you're just going to come on this side of the entryway roof peak, and all you have to do is just start continuing the roof pattern just like you've been doing. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And at this point, all you have to do now is just continue to build up your levels just like you've been doing. The other thing is over here too, we're going to want to do the same thing that we did with the quartz stairs along the edges of the living room walls. So we're going to take these quartz stairs, we're going to trace around, and that's going to butt up against that part of the roof. And plain and simple, all you have to do is just continue tracing around the perimeter of the house. And all this will meet up with each other. So if you've been continuing around with this roof pattern, you've probably gotten to the end of the chimney and started questioning what the heck you're going to do next here. So what you're actually going to do, you're going to take any block, it doesn't matter which, and you're just going to determine the level that your current roof line is at, and you're just going to go around the chimney just like this. You're going to come over here, you're going to take your stone brick stairs, and you're just going to look straight down, and you're going to place them like that. And at this point, you can just continue going up in levels. Once you come to a section like this, where you want to continue going around like you have been, but there's only one block, what you're going to do is you're going to continue your pattern in this direction. Same thing applies to the other side. And you're just going to add stone slabs right across like that. And then you can just continue on with what you've been doing, if you actually use the right block, unlike me. Alright, so once you get to a point where your roof is only one block apart from each other, obviously this isn't going to work if you keep going around the perimeter. So what you're going to want to do in this section right here, you're just going to place any block, doesn't matter which, and you are just going to cover that up with the stone slabs. And you can do the same thing over here. And at this point, you now have two open areas which you can just continue to follow the perimeters of those individual areas. So what we're going to do is we're just going to place another block and add another level, and we're just going to keep going up until it's all closed off. And at this point, you can just go ahead, place a block, and then cover that with your slabs. You're going to do the same thing for this opening. And then once it's all closed up, your roof is almost finished. Alright, so at this point, if your roof is closed up, the main part is finished. Now, we can come around back. We can just look everything over, just make sure that it's the way that we like it. Now remember before I said to make the chimney a certain height? That was simply just to be able to get it high enough that it wouldn't interfere with building the roof. Really, the chimney height is very subjective. You can kind of pick and choose depending on your preference. In this case, I think it's not a bad height. You can obviously go ahead and change yours and make it taller or shorter if you want to. But once you have the height determined, all you're going to do is you're going to take a smooth quartz slab and you're just going to trace around the top like this. Alright, so now that you've done that and the main part of your roof is finished, we need to finish decorating the front of these peaks. So what you're going to do, you're actually going to take the smooth quartz stairs and you're going to match all these levels and bring it out one block from the wall. Again, use the slab here. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to come underneath and we're going to place those stairs upside down. And just do that all the way up. Now, don't do this right here in the middle. Come down the other side. And then this open middle spot right here, what you're going to want to do is just place one block of smooth quartz. And then at this point, what you want to do is take the smooth quartz slab and right at the top edge of the white concrete, right below the light gray concrete, just bring this all the way across. And that's what your decorated peaks should look like. Now go ahead and do exactly the same thing for the entryway and over on the garage and this other peak over here above the bedroom. Alright, so now that you've gone through and finished the peaks above both bedrooms, the entryway, and the garage, you now have a completed exterior shell of this building that's ready to be gone through and furnished on the inside. Now that is going to be a different video in the series that'll be coming up next. I decided to split this up into a couple different videos just because I figured some people might not have, a super long attention span, might not want to sit through a super long hour or whatever video. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up next. If you enjoyed doing this, making the exterior, if my suggestions were helpful, make sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe. If you have any suggestions for me or ways to help me improve my building style too, feel free to leave a comment. Yeah, if you recommend to a friend that also loves to build, by all means, go ahead and do that. I would love to be able to reach as many people as possible and continue to help out. So, yeah, all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and let's just take a look around at what we've done.